the other, I guess, kind of big trade in the NBA that I don't think a lot of people are really talking about. Jaren Jackson getting traded to Utah, pretty much ending the current state of the Memphis Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson averaging 19 points, almost 2 blocks a game, is headed to Utah with some teammates of his for a lot of nothing in terms of players, except for George Niang, and then 3 future first-round picks, which that's the thing that gets me personally with this trade is why the Jazz, out of all teams, would give up 3 future first-round picks. I can't remember because I don't think all of them are Utah's picks, so I would need you guys to clarify on which ones they gave up. But either way, I think this is a great move for the Grizzlies first because they're going to get these picks as well as I think maybe they can use some of these the younger Walter Clayton Jr. as a guy to see maybe he can find a way to develop to be the backup for Ja. Who knows? Maybe this is a move to eventually get rid of Ja at some point. But the Jazz, I'm not sure what they were wanting to do with this move. I don't really even know what the Jazz are doing as an organization. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I think Dawson, did you pull up the who owns each pick? So let's start with you.
Yeah, I hate how many times you can trade swap picks because this just makes it super confusing to relay.
Mm-hmm.
The picks that Utah sent to Memphis include a 2027 Los Angeles Lakers pick, and then the most favorable of the other. This is a group of 4 teams. The most favorable of either the Jazz, the Cavs, the Timberwolves, and then, oh no, sorry, it's 3 teams, and then a 2031 Phoenix first round pick.
Okay. So they will get the Jazz pick.
I think I got that right.
So they will get the Jazz pick out of that group of 3, but it's not bad like draft picks really, but it ends a era in Memphis. Like out of all the players on the roster, Jaren Jackson Jr. is the only one that I felt like they should be keeping, maybe build around, like, or not necessarily build around, make him the star player, but like I feel like he could have been a key contributor to a team that could maybe contend, but maybe they had to pull the Band-Aid off and like completely restart because they're kind of stuck as long as they have Ja Morant.
Sorry, I had to make sure I was counting this right. Yeah, Ja Morant being the last man standing in Memphis is certainly something. And again, just to allude back to my previous rant, we literally had a report about how he was going to be gone, about how the Memphis Grizzlies were going to continue to build around Jaren Jackson Jr. And quite literally, I mean, not the inverse has happened because I would be appalled at this point if Ja Morant lasts much longer in Memphis. But
agreed,
that's the case. Anyway, if I counted this correctly, over the next, I believe it's 6 years, from 2026 to 2032, the Memphis Grizzlies own 11 first-round picks, which is wild. That's between because we had the whole Desmond Bane thing when he got shipped off to Orlando. They got some picks then, and then obviously now those first-round picks from JJJ. This is weird because that does not, to me, that does not scream, keeping Ja Morant. So I'm interested to see what they'll do moving forward, and if they use any, maybe they will keep Ja, and they'll use all those first round picks to trade for who knows who. Maybe they'll get Kawhi Leonard. That won't happen. But it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward. And yeah, the Jazz, I refuse to talk about them. I don't know. They're not as bad as the Kings by any means, but they're getting there. It's like, what's the goal here? Like, what are we working towards? I'm a little lost because I thought Laurie was supposed to be gone. And obviously, he has a gajillion dollars, so he's not going to get moved. Now they have Jaren Jackson Jr. Keontae George is all of a sudden just like insanely good at basketball. but they still are not that good. So I'm a little concerned.
It's crazy because we'll talk about the second trade after this one. It's crazy the Jazz had to give up more for Jaren Jackson Jr. than what the Wizards had to do to get Anthony Davis. Like, we'll talk about the Davis trade in a second, but I need to throw that out there. Most of the players in this deal are just kind of like, eh. Like, Walter Clayton Jr. played good last year at Florida, but he's not really a contributor for the Jazz this year. Taylor Hendricks is the interesting one, former lottery pick. So we'll see what he ends up being with the Grizzlies. I do think it's funny Kyle Anderson's going back to Memphis. I do like that. That's from the Grizzlies' perspective, and the draft picks are nice. Like you said, what they have 11 in the next 6 years. Like they can build something. From the Jazz, it just why? Or I'm sorry, from the Jazz. Why? Like, you're sitting at, let me pull up my standings. You're sitting at 13th in the West right now. You're not like, you're 7 games out of just the 10 seed. So you're not really trying to win this year. But then you throw in, like, it's not your pick this year, but next year you're kind of giving up the rights to your pick, if that makes sense. Because you can Memphis the favorable swap of any of those three. And at this point in time, unless the Cavs just self-implode and same with the Timberwolves, I would expect the Jazz to be the worst team out of those three. So
Safe
Memphis
bet.
would get what?
Safe
that.
bet.
But it's truly head scratching that it took this much for Jaren. I mean, it's not even like the players the Jazz also got are like great players. Like Jock Landale, I think he either got traded again or is getting bought out. And then Vince Williams played good. Was it last year or 2 years ago when he was a rookie? But hasn't really been much of a contributor since. But for the Jazz, you got all these picks. Why not try to? You can't really attract free agents. I mean, Utah's kind of a hard place to sell someone to. But I don't hate the trade for the Jazz, but I really like what Memphis is doing. Just stockpiling draft picks and really gearing towards the future. So,
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever see James Harden ever consider signing with Utah. I don't think there's much to do out there for him, but we'll see what each team does. It's so I had to take a headshot photo from George Niang to be able to put him on this graphic because he hasn't played this year because he's been hurt all season. So we'll see. I sent a text to you guys. George Niang is slowly becoming the Ish Smith of this era, where he's just kind of taking stops wherever. But hey, if that means he's going to end up with an NBA championship at some point, I'd sign me up because, Ish Smith finally got his a couple years ago.
Dennis Schroeder's catching up to him. I think Dennis Schroeder's, with him joining the Cavs, I think he's on team number 10 or team number 11.
Yeah, Dennis Schroeder is the guy that always gets traded and you're like, or gets signed somewhere and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot he's still playing basketball.
Yeah.
Which is literally what Ish Smith was. So that's a very very good point there from you, Dawson.